Put on your detective badge and step into the neon-lit streets of Komorocho and get ready to trade your heat actions for courtroom objections as we dive into the boldest spin-off of RGG Studio has ever produced, Judgment. This isn't just Yakuza with a lawyer. This is a game that traded Kazuma Kiryu for Takua Kimura, swapped organized crime for legal suspense, and asked whether the Dragon Engine could tell a whole new story. Find out on this episode of SEGA Talk.
SEGA Bits presents SEGA Talk, a podcast talking all things SEGA with your hosts, George and Barry.
Look, it's a giant talking egg. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the master here. So what?
Hello and welcome to SEGA Talk number 189, which is a big number. With me, like always, is my host, Barry.
Hello, yes. I don't know. Yeah, Judgment, man. It's the game that taught me how to spell the word judgment. Because there's no E.
Right? Right.
There's no first E between the G and the M. And I'm looking at your notes and I'm like, I did the same thing. I don't blame you. When I made news for this when it came out, I was like, wait, what? It's Judgment?
Yeah. I totally didn't even notice it when I was playing the game that they did that. But I guess it makes sense.
Though.
Yeah. But I was going to say, oh, yeah. What do you think about the name Judgment? I know it's a little generic. That's how I was going to open with. And Judge Eyes, which was the original title.
They're both weird, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think Judgment's a very catchy title. I don't think Judge Eyes. Judge Eyes sounds like an iToy game. Like, in Japan they had this exclusive lawyer game with the iToy called Judge Eyes. You know?
And also, you're not a judge in the game. Like, you're technically a lawyer, which is a totally different thing. It'd be like making a cop game and calling it Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the name is whatever, and I think they wanted just a generic name, the way Yakuza just has a generic name. It's Yakuza.
Yeah.
And this is what they landed, and this is what they got copyrighted, which is a pretty big pickup. You can't even get a .com without having a bunch of numbers and a bunch of other stuff. The fact that they, got to trademark something like this, it's a pretty big deal. But talking about big deals, can you pitch these fine folks the Patreon?
Yeah, I can. So welcome to Barry's Court. Today we are in session to talk about the SEGABits Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/SEGABits, you can support us for as little as $1 a month. The more support we get, the better the show gets. If that dollar amount drops, I start to slur words and forget things like Yuji Naka. Like, I just forget who he is. But with your support, your money, it will increase my brain power. No, that's not how it works. But I will say, George, and I usually do this when we're like offline, but I'll do it now because it's for a good cause. Once the July stuff goes in, can we do a Patreon poll? Because I got to fix my Xbox. It flippin' broke.
Yes, because, you got to treat the Xbox with respect now that the RAM prices have increased, and that means that the Xbox is now worth more now at the end of its life than the beginning of its life.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. They put, because you had that big brick between the plug and like the machine, and they now put the brick inside the machine. If the brick breaks, you got to replace it, which means you have to buy a new brick and take the whole thing apart. So that's what I got to do. It's like $70, but it's cheaper than buying a new console. So
good luck.
Yeah. So that's me showing a little peek behind the curtain. I'm asking George, please, sir, may I have some money so I can fix my Xbox? But anyway, we'll do that.
No, starve to death. Let's talk about Judgment a little bit. The context and origin. So the seeds of Judgment were actually planted all the way after Yakuza 5. Producer Kazuki Hosokawa went to Sega senior management with a simple and bold pitch. The studio should create a new IP. Whoa, who would have thought? Whoa, new IP, crazy. Rather than continuing to lean exclusively on the Yakuza franchise, or Yakuzers franchise if you're from Canada. Senior executive manager Daisuke Sato later admitted he originally believed Yakuza would only last 3 games and agreed with Hosokawa that the studio needed to stretch its creative legs. Sega actually hired new employees specifically to get fresh perspectives, asking about their preferences to help shape the brand new direction, which is crazy because, to be honest with you, this game to me feels so Yakuza with a skin on it, to be honest. Like, I love it, but this whole, like, we reinvented the wheel is crazy. Especially when I was doing the notes. Development officially began in 2015 under the codename Project Judge. And, it wasn't even Judgment, it was Project Judge. And it stayed that way until it was its full reveal. The game was first teased in August 2018 during the Sega live stream by series director Nagoshi, and he described it as something completely different. When the studio, who makes like RGG, is known for something like Yakuza, decides to do something new, do you think it's born from genuine creative hunger, or is this just the reality that IPs have shelf lives?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we're kind of witnessing that again right now with Stranger Than Heaven coming out. Yeah, and they haven't even really made it clear that. I mean, it does have elements. I think it has families from Yakuza. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting because it seems like we're going through that again. Judgment, I know it's not the end of the episode, so I'm not going to like share my final thoughts, but you know, it had a 2-game legacy. I think it was Nagoshi's baby, so when he left, it's not like someone was there really championing for a third one. Plus, I think the direction that they went with the turn-based RPG is probably a little more popular than Judgment. But yeah, I feel like this was probably a little mix of both. I think there's elements in this game that they wanted to try with Yakuza, but it was just too different. But they probably also said, well, let's give this a shot. If it kicks off, then it could be a spin-off, or we could even put Yakuza on the shelf for a little bit and focus on Judgment. And I'm sure we'll get into it later, but maybe you can answer now, like, do the Yakuza games themselves have much crossover with Judgment, or
they
no?
do. They kind of tease a little bit that, like, Kazuma, like, one of the characters that you have, Kaido, is a ex-Tojo clan member, and so there's that connection, and there is like a little bit of tease. I think in one of the games, maybe Yakuza 7, maybe, or 8, Kaito is in the background, or he's like kind of a crossover thing with maybe Kazuma. I forgot what the context was. I just remember he was in one of the side missions or games. I'm sure someone that's listening to this is like, it's this game in this scene, you idiot. But I totally forgot. But I do remember that they teased that they were kind of connecting, you know, like, but it wasn't the main character. It was Kaito, which they've been using, I think, more to connect with the Tojo clan, if it makes sense, because he is a Yakuza character.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I did want to note, too, this is a Daniel Andres pick from Patreon. He does have his own memories, so I'm sure, George, you will, audio memories, so you'll sprinkle those in, or place it in to the show. But I just wanted to give him a shout out at the top of the show before we forget.
Yep, he had a very big list, and I was gonna do Persona 4 because it just got the revival. But I decided to wait a little bit, maybe getting closer. I kind of wanted to do 3 first, but that's just me. So Negoshi's vision was basically this game. It's kind of his baby, and I don't think he's had a baby before this, like where he took the writing duties for a while. So to me, when this was announced, it was a big deal. It's like I want to see what this guy has again. He was the writer and wanted to craft a story about a detective working a case, something deliberately contrasting with his previous work in the Kiryu era Yakuza games. The shift from Yakuza power struggles to legal suspense was intentional and fundamental. The game used the Dragon Engine, the same technology powering the great Yakuza 6, the Song of Life, but the team enhanced it. They overhauled the lighting system and emphasized the game's legal suspense theme, a more grounded, moodier feel than a bombastic crime drama of Yakuza. Unlike Yakuza's sprawling multi-city narrative, Judgment keeps the player entirely in Kamurocho. This is the first time since Yakuza 2 and its spin-offs that the thing is, Yakuza 2 did have, I think, a second city, but it was really small. And it was like not even noteworthy, really. But this is a deliberate choice to create a more intimate experience. Hosokawa and Nagoshi notably refrained from calling Judgment a spin-off from Yakuza despite sharing the same development team and engine. They argued the narrative was significantly different to stand on its own merits. And it's not... Well, I guess I'll ask. Is Judgment a spin-off or is it its own thing? At what point does sharing an engine, a city, a developer stop making something related and start making it the same? Does labeling it not Yakuza help or hurt it?
Yeah, it's interesting because for me, a spin-off is like a character that is initially introduced gets their own game, like Shadow the Hedgehog, or I'm sure something else will come to mind, but that's the one that comes to mind. But with this, like, none of the main characters or supporting characters are from Yakuza. It's more like characters within that world that are now getting their own stories. So it's really more of an expansion of the Yakuza, I guess, universe. I always draw parallels to Star Wars, but like there was that show Skeleton Crew that came out, and it existed at the same time as the Mandalorian show, but all the main characters were brand new, and the setting was all brand new. I think there was like one pirate character that appeared in both shows, and he was like a minor character, which is kind of similar to Judgment, where you might maybe there's like a shared NPC or something, right? But like it's not as though you're playing as these brand new characters that you were introduced to. And I guess similarly, Yakuza 7 is kind of like this game, where it's just like a brand new character that wasn't introduced in a prior game.
Yeah.
It is a main series title, but it's so different that it almost feels like a spin-off, like just gameplay wise. But yeah, it's hard to call it a spin-off. It's an expansion, maybe an attempt to spin the series somewhere else.
One thing I did notice is when Stranger of Heaven was announced, that a lot of people were like super upset right away when they found out that it had to do with the Tojo clan, because a lot of people, I think maybe big streaming personalities, I was watching someone restream, I think it was like Pat, the guy that used to do Super Best Friends. He was like restreaming one of the streams, and it just came up, and I was too lazy to find the official stream, so I watched him watch the PlayStation Awards. And right away when they said Tojo Clan, he was like, oh, great, it's another Yakuza game. And to people just being in Tojo Clan, it's almost like, I guess, I don't know. Sonic Team's never done this that I know of. Maybe you could think of it when they just gave a random character that was never introduced in a previous game its own game.
I'm trying to think of any, like, specifically Sega game. I mean, if anything, it's more like Final Fantasy or Phantasy Star, right? Where, like, well, no, Final Fantasy's a new story in a new world every time. Yeah. But Phantasy Star, no, that's more like time jumps.
Yeah. It's kind of hard
Yeah,
it's like to compare it to something like this, but it is
no
interesting.
Grand Theft Auto, right? Because it's all the same world, but it's different characters.
But they wouldn't call them spin-offs, right? I guess they do make spin-offs. But the thing is,
No,
that's the interesting thing is that they didn't call it something like Judgment, a Yakuza story. You know what I mean?
right?
Like even though Disney releases a bunch of Star Wars content that's different, they still lean on the Star Wars brand. The whole idea that they wanted to distance themselves is what's the weird part.
Yeah, it's kind of like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe where they did like Moon Knight, and they were like, "Oh, this takes place in the MCU, but there's like absolutely no recurring characters or connections," you know?
Right. Yeah.
And like he never appears in any other MCU thing, so it's like, oh, okay, so I guess like maybe the mistake is that makes this game kind of skippable for like hardcore Yakuza fans who are more into the lore and the characters. They'd be like, well, is this going to make an impact? No. Is it going to, come back in future games? No. But it's a fun game, but I guess yeah.
Nagoshi actually did talk about this. He said the location and assets might be the same, but the gameplay and story here are drastically different. Do I agree? I don't know. Perhaps the single biggest headline for the game's development was the casting of Takua Kimura, who played Yagami, the main character. Kimura was a member of SMAP. Is that how you say it? One of the Japan's most famous boy bands of all time, and a massive TV and film star. I've never heard of him previously, so I'm not Japanese, so I guess it makes sense. He provided both his facial likeness and Japanese voice acting. This was a casting coup of the highest order, bringing mainstream entertainment and star power to a video game in a way Japan rarely sees. The English voice cast was also very stacked. Actually, the dub for this game is really good. Greg Chun does a great job. Matthew Mercer does a great job. I'm not going to go through everyone, but great dub, actually. And it came in 5 different languages with subtitles, which was a big deal. And the first time, I think, a spin-off, or I think this is when they first started doing the dubs. Interestingly, Kimura, even though he's a vocalist for a pop band, did not get to do karaoke mini games, which has been a staple for RGG games. What do you think about getting someone that's popular like Kimura from Japan to? It's like getting almost, I guess, Michael Jackson or Justin Timberlake.
I mean, I guess we're seeing that right now with Snoop Dogg. I mean, I don't think he's as popular. He's kind of, I mean, I don't think he's a joke, but I think he's kind of an idiot now. And, he's
a sellout.
Kind of a joke. He's kind of a joke, a sellout now.
Yeah.
But, it's not like that. It's interesting with Greg Chun, I was going to mention, because I haven't listened to it for a few months. I need to catch up. But the Seth Meyers Lonely Island podcast, Greg Chun actually does their intro music, because that's one of his gigs, is he's a musician. And so he'll do like parody intros. Like they'll do an episode and then they're like, hey, Greg, if you're listening for the next intro, we want to have it sound like a 80s sitcom. And he'll do that. And they just most recently did an episode. And they were like, you know what? We never mentioned, but Greg does a lot of voice acting. And I don't know if they ever mentioned Judgment specifically, but it was kind of weird to be like, oh, weird. They're talking about the lead character of Judgment. And I remember Corey Maru met him, and we have him in some Sega Bits videos, which is kind of funny.
And he also sings, so you think it was weird not having karaoke in this game?
It was. It kind of reminds me of like the opposite of when like celebrities who are actors want to do an album, and then they're like, we're not talking about my acting right now. We're talking about my music. And in this case, it seems like he's like, I want to be a voice actor. I'm not going to be a singer in this. And it's like, oh, we don't get what we want. Michael Jackson didn't sing in Space Channel 5, though, so,
I guess we can't talk about the game without the controversy of Pierre Taki, who got the game pulled from shelves for Sega. Probably cost them a pretty penny. So in March 2019, just months after the Japanese release and 3 months before the Western launch, actor Pierre Taki, who played the character Koyo Hamura, he's the villain for the game, in the Japanese version, was arrested for suspected cocaine use. Taki was well-known musician, allegedly, right? Only suspected. They didn't even know. It was not even caught. Well-known musician and member of the electric band Dinky Groove, and his arrest made national headlines. Sega's response was immediate and drastic. They halted sales of the game in Japan entirely, pulling physical copies from store shelves and suspending digital sales. This was an extraordinary move for a game that only had been out for 3 months. For the Western release, Sega made a decision to replace Taki's facial likeness and his voice acting. So Tanaka, Mayo Tanaka stepped in with a totally new face model that created to replace Taki's, the Western version. So they just updated the model, and here we have a bit of gameplay showing. Did I even put it on here? Oh, I haven't opened it. Yeah, so here we have gameplay. Let me load it. But from IGN. So it's like a cutscene. I'm playing it now.
Hey! Always getting into trouble.
Is it really an all-new face?
Not really.
They literally just like modified it. They gave him more hair. Like he just basically got a hair transplant.
Yeah, he just has more hair and his nose is a little slender.
Our boy Talk here doesn't.
Did they just make him hotter?
Real good
I mean, is that?
Yeah, they kind of did make him a little hotter.
was you.
Yeah.
You dumbasses jumped the
That's
wrong
really
guy.
weird.
Yeah, so, I mean, we don't have to watch the whole thing. I was just showing to get some context. When this happened, the internet was obviously super upset over the, censorship, nonsense. Do you think this is an overreaction from Sega?
Oh, 100%. I think this whole freak out over drug use in Japan is absolutely ridiculous. I think there's a double standard when it comes to, like, and I'm not going to even get into it because I don't even really talk. Like, but, there's people who have done some pretty deviant stuff and they still get to keep their job. But, oh no, they did drugs? Like, that's not hurting anyone except for themselves. And then sometimes they'll do it over marijuana, which is just laughable because you now have a game with coming out with two rappers who were notorious for using drugs. They sang about it, and one was murdered and gunned down. Like, what?
And you're using his dead corpse basically to sell in the game. Snoop Dogg obviously has violence against women and a bunch of other unsavory accusations. So the fact that, it's weird that this guy got the boot for being Japanese, but Americans and other people are allowed to do whatever they want. And then they had that Yakuza 3 thing. So it's like, do you really stand on morals? And it was suspected drug use. It's like if somebody slanders you at work and all of a sudden Barry has to get fired because someone said they saw him say good things about the new Star Wars movie. I would. Grogu. Yeah.
I love Grogu.
You go into your boss's office. Yeah, I love him. He's cute. I love him. He's the greatest. Let's talk about the gameplay. I guess
that's what counts.
Right? This is what most people play games for.
Yeah, that's true.
Most people. Some people do it to watch other YouTube streamers play the game live. But at its skeleton, Judgment feels like a Yakuza game. You explore Komarocho, get into street fights, buy healing items from convenience stores, and unravel a conspiracy. but the changes run deeper than a new coat of paint. So the first thing is combat. This game has two distinct fighting styles. While it's not new for Yakuza, because Zero had it, it is the first time that the Dragon Engine supported it. And you got Crane style, which completely sucks. Wide spinning kicks, sweeps, designed for crowd control. For group fight options, Tiger style, more powerful close range. And as a person that's played a lot of this game, Tiger style is OP. You really don't need to have any crowd control because the game gives you good enough dodging, like movement, that you could just move around and punch them and then move around. What truly sets Yagami apart from Kiryu is his parkour infused fighting. He can wall run, leapfrog over enemies, leap off objects in mid-combo, and flip his way out of corners. If Kiryu was a battering ram, Yagami is a scalpel, fast, acrobatic, and always repositioning. They also have the EX action systems, which is basically the same thing as Yakuza. They also have mortal wounds, which is supposed to make the game feel higher stake, but to me it was just tedious. But a major gameplay twist, certain enemies can inflict mortal wounds that permanently shrinks Yagami's maximum health bar until he treats it. You can't just chug a healing drink from the nearest convenience store. You have to buy medical kits, which are expensive and only available in one specific underground doctor. So traveling too. This forces you to play more defensively than in Yakuza games where Kiryu could tank through almost anything. Police could also interrupt your fights and give you I think it's like, a fine, yeah. What do you think about, I mean, I don't know if you played enough about Judgment 1 to experience the mortal wound, but what do you think about the idea of, like, having characters that punish you so bad for hitting you with a mortal wound? And usually in the game, they glow a certain color, so you know it's coming. I thought it was annoying because it was like, oh, cool, I got beat up. Now I have to go and grind a bunch of stuff to unlock the rest of my health so I could continue on the story. What do you think about something like that?
I mean, it does bring urgency to the game, but I don't know if I'm that big a fan of like that real life or death situation within these games. They're already so goofy that I don't like the idea of the health bar actually shrinking. I want it to grow or stay the same. It's unique, but a little weird.
The game does have detective, like a little bit of detective stuff, and this is all mixed. Some stuff is good, some stuff is bad. So crime scene searching, you can scan environments for clues, presented as a pixel hunt with a controller rumble. After an early upgrade, it becomes basically easy. Tailing missions, this is one I hated. Follow suspects through Komorocho and try to stay out of sight. It's really bad. Chase sequences, basically, if you play almost any Yakuza game in the last 7 years, there's always a chase sequence, basically, where they throw an object at you and you just run straight. And then you just dodge it by pressing a button. Lock picking and disguises. I actually did like the lock picking. I thought that was cool, and I liked the disguises. Evidence presentation, courtroom style sequences, kind of like Phoenix Wright, where you present evidence during interrogations. The catch, you can't fail. There's no fail state, so the tension is like absent. As IGN noted, despite the fact that this game is called Judgment, there's surprisingly little room given to make your own decisions. What do you think about that? Like the no fail. Sometimes I personally like it sometimes when there's like funny dialogue or funny options because I want to use the funny options to see the outcome. But if it's just generic, it's like, do I really have you know what I mean? Is there any tension, you know?
Right. I mean, I guess if this was a courtroom simulator, then I would really ding it for that. But, you know, I understand that the game story is set. It's not going to like have multiple paths depending on if a case is won or lost, which would be cool. But I don't know if I can judge it so harshly as others have. But then again, coming off of Phoenix Wright, like, yeah, you're used to seeing that negative ending.
Right.
And if they're not giving you that, then like it's not really a courtroom game or a detective simulator, because there is no bad outcome.
Yeah, and I agree. And I don't know about you, when I saw the marketing for this game and read articles in Japan and how they were trying to distance themselves a lot from Yakuza the brand, I thought it was just going to be a 3D high quality RGG style Phoenix Wright game. Like, I was like, oh, they're legit just gonna make courtroom drama game where it's mostly about detective work, and just like Phoenix Wright, maybe being a little bizarre, just like Phoenix Wright. And it definitely it was not that. It was like Yakuza with a sprinkle of courtroom cases. So, and they actually took those out in the sequel. So, I don't know. According to Kotaku's Luke Plunkett, who said, for a game about being a detective and former lawyer, the detective and lawyer sections suck. So there you go. They also...
Oh, I don't know about that.
Little harsh. They also streamlined progression. So in Yakuza 6, there was 5 different XP types that you could collect. Judgment uses only one currency, skill points, or SP for short. Everything you do earns SP. Fighting, solving cases, befriending NPCs, winning mini games, all of it goes into one pot, and you can spend it to upgrade health, combat abilities, lock picking, or anything else. No grinding, no specialization, anxiety. They also have obviously what do you think about that? They when they try to do all these like almost mobile game systems where you have your own XP for your health and your own XP for your
right.
Yeah, what do you feel? How do you feel about that?
I hate it. That's actually why I stopped playing Sonic Rumble. I'm like, are there seriously like 10 different menu systems and like 8 different point systems? Like, let me just make it be the game that it is and have one system. Like, I don't know if it's famous, but I played Simpsons Tapped Out until it ended, and they had money and they had donuts, and those were the only two, and you knew that money you got for free and donuts were like the premium that they would either give to you through like special events, or you had to pay for them, and that was it. Now in this game, since it's not a mobile title, I appreciate it. It's just skill points. That's it. Don't give us like multiple. It's just too much. I can't even wrap my head around it. I've got enough going on in my life.
I agree. I think Yakuza made I don't know, just doing. I know what they're trying to do, make it more. Maybe Japan loves it, but I don't. I thought it was cool that they streamlined it. There's also side content and mini games, which is obviously a staple for Yakuza, even though they keep saying this is not a Yakuza game. They had drone racing. Right. You customize and race drones in Kamurocho. VR board game. I actually kind of like the VR board game. Fully playable virtual reality board game. It had the friendship system, which has been you befriend NPCs across Kamurocho, and there's like a dating sim inspired scenario. I did see some Gen X Yakuza fans on Reddit talk about how Yagami, who is I think 42, dates a 21-year-old in the game, and they go on a couple of dates that are like
good for him.
Literally no romance. It was like two friends going out almost, and they were like, "Can we cancel RGG? These old perverts." So
let's do it.
I think she might have been younger, maybe 19, but for Japan, that's a high bar. I mean, just saying, like some animes I've seen, I'm like, what the F are you guys doing? Anyway, classic arcade games are available. Really good selection.
Yeah.
Space Harrier, Fantasy Zone, Fighting Vipers, Motor Raid, Outrun, Virtual Fighter 5 Final Showdown, Puyo Puyo, and the House of the Dead inspired Kamurocho of the Dead. There's also some really good side cases in here that I actually enjoyed. I thought they did a good job with some of these. But sometimes you stumble with them on the streets. But in this game, there's like a job board where you can get them too, so it makes it more structured and less random. Obviously, there is no karaoke, no hostess club management, and no clan creator from Yakuza 6. It kind of makes sense. Like, why would Yagami make his own game?
Right.
Does the job board approach make the game feel more deliberate or less organic? And to you, I mean, what do you think? Like, going to a board or walking in the city and organically finding these side missions?
I mean, I think it fits when you have an office, like
Yeah.
having these little jobs come in. It's a fun way to shake it up. That said, I do like organically finding them within
Yakuza
within the world. Yeah. Just most recently, I was playing Yakuza 0, and I love how there's that sub-story, that side story that's like a side story of side stories, because you're the radio contest, so you're like going through your side missions, but then you're submitting them to a radio host, and if he reads it on air like 3 times, he comes and visits you. And when I learned that he would do that, I just like took a pause on the whole game, like the main story, and I just was like, I gotta win this radio contest. And that's all I was doing, and it was so much fun. And I kind of like that, where it's like the side missions are feeding into another sort of side mission within your office, because you had to keep going back to the office and telling your receptionist to like send a letter to the radio station. But in this case, I think it's fine. They wanted to try something different, and they did. I really think the highlight are the games included in this. Like, it's a really great selection, and if I'm remembering correctly, Motor Raid is new to this. It's the first, I think, home.
Yeah.
Am I right? The
Yeah,
home
you're
release?
right. You're
First
right.
home release. Yeah, and so I think one of the great things about these games, and it's unfortunate that we're probably not going to get that with Stranger Than Heaven, is that there's always a new game that's never been released to home before. I think most recently with Pirate Yakuza was that underwater shooting game.
Oh yeah,
from SEGA.
yeah, and I think that's
So,
one of
I like
one
it.
of the cool things about Yakuza games. You'll always get something that you're like, oh, nice, like those arcade games.
Right. Oh,
and I forget sometimes, and I'll just randomly
Yeah.
stop. Oh, it has Motor Raid. I forgot. Yeah, sorry.
well, the one you played at Galloping Ghost, Emergency Call Ambulance, is now in that game, and people were like, I'm not going to pick it up because of the controversy, and then they're like, oh man, but it has Emergency Call Ambulance.
I gotta pick it up now.
Yeah, I gotta get it for the Switch 2, even though I don't have a Switch 2, just so I can take it and physically play the game in the exact location where the game takes
Yeah,
place. Wouldn't that be trippy?
That would make a good video. Yeah.
It would.
Playing every
Yeah, I
arcade
could do that.
game where it takes place. So you play, Sonic 2 in San Francisco with
Right.
uh,
Or you take a lot of drugs and then play Fantasy
yeah,
Zone.
and, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the characters, the cast of the game. I was gonna talk about the villains, but then I started noticing that it's plot spoiler territory on some of the villains, and I'm like, and then we'll just talk about the one. Takayuki Yagami, a former attorney turned private detective, haunted by a case from his past where he successfully cleared a client of murder, only for that client to be arrested again for killing his girlfriend. Yagami quit law and became a PI, seeking redemption. What do you think about that for a opening story for a character?
It's cool. It fits.
I think it's
I mean, we talked about Yagami's not our first detective. We did Dick Tracy not too long ago. So he's got his own demons.
It's very noir, detective story where they're like not perfect type of person. They're rough around the edges kind of a thing, but they always do the right thing in the end, I guess. Masaharu Kaito, who is the Yagami's partner and former Tojo clan member of the Matsugani family, a gruff, loyal foil to Yagami's more thoughtful approach. Kaito is the muscle and the heart. This is just like we couldn't put Kazuma Kiryu, they wouldn't let us, so we made a new character named Kaito. I almost feel like they wanted to bring back like maybe Kazuma's undercover and he's hanging out with his Yagami, or maybe. But I actually like this character. I like his clothes. They did a good job with him. He's pretty funny scenes. The next one is Ryuzo Genda, who is the head of Genda's law office and his former Yagami's more formal mentor and father figure, the moral compass. They have a really good scene with this character in later on in the game. The voice actors knocked it out of the park. He's a really cool character, surprisingly enough. And you can see some variety here in characters. Something that we complained a little bit about in Yakuza 3, and people got upset with us. Sorry. Sayari Shirasaki. As you could tell, this girl was probably had a bunch of simps on the internet. Obviously, she's a defense attorney at Ginda Law Office, sharp and determined. She has that more emo, don't talk to me, I'm watching anime look that obviously was there to attract the dweebs. What do you think about her character design?
I can see why.
Yeah.
I can see why, I guess.
Mafuyu Fuji, public prosecutor and Yagami's ally within the system, the friendly face on the other side of the courtroom. And they basically have a thing for each other. She's the love interest. And then we have Makoto Tsukumo, a recluse tech expert who helps Yagami. He's a hacker slash nerd archetype done well. I don't know. I mean, he's just the nerd guy. I don't know if he's done well.
I like his Google glasses.
Yeah. Do you like his
whatever they are?
Do you like he kind of looks like what's his name from with the long when he had long hair in Yakuza 5 or whatever, the guy that shaves his head, the big
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but regardless of he's just a nerd character. He's a side character. He doesn't have too much going on for him. I think a lot of most of the side characters outside of Genda don't really, and Kaito don't really have too much screen time, and I think that's one of my negatives. When it comes to Yakuza characters, they'll introduce so many side characters, and they'll have like a one-off scene, and then they'll come back later and you beat them up. There's no like them like organically hanging out and living with, like, there's no side missions and going out with these characters and learning more about their past or their relationship or context of what's going on and how they got here. So that's my little, I understand that they have to keep focus because the Yakuza games go all over the place, but that's just one of the things I wish they did more. But anyway, what do you like better? Do you like these like small detective kind of work whatever cast, or do you like the larger than life Yakuza legends? It's like a Marvel movie sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for this game the character lineup works, but I don't know if it helped cement this game's status in Sega or RGG history. I know there is a lot of love for this game and its sequel, so maybe I'm wrong, but like looking through this cast, like I am remembering some of these characters from the marketing that we saw, but honestly, like they're not really jumping out at me outside of the first two. It's kind of giving me oh man, what was that? Binary Domain vibes, where it's like like you show me the pictures, I'm like, oh, it's that character, yes, of course, but like I haven't thought about them in years, And
Kutaku Noted, Yagami's tale may be pinned to a massive and often farcical conspiracy, but its beats and conclusion are really just a personal and small scale story about a man out for redemption. Shoji. So let's talk about the soundtrack. The music for the game comes from a reliable staple at RGG Studio composers, Hidenori Shoji, the legendary composer behind the Yakuza series. Can't beat the allegation that it's a side when you use the same composer. But anyway, in charge alongside Yuri Fukuda, Chihiro Aki as I'm not gonna be Kayabashi and Yoshida joined the soundtrack. The soundtrack reflects the game's shift in tone. It's more atmospheric, more suspenseful, less bombastic than Yakuza's signature mix of jazz, rock, and J-pop. Think moody electronic textures, tense investigative themes, and a general sense of noir-infused unease. The major musical headline, however, is the involvement of Japanese rock band Alexandros, who produced 2 songs for the game, including the opening theme. Alexandros were already a major name in Japanese rock, and their contribution gives Judgment a distinct musical identity separate for Yakuza's usual soundscape. And to be quite honest, I think they're trying to do the same exact thing with Stranger Than Heaven. They have that really popular Japanese pop artist that basically made the trailer hit 14 million views like quickly. I think it's because of her song on there. Her fans are coming to listen to it, and they want a single for it. And it's obvious because they literally are selling a record with the special edition. And it feels like this is where they started this idea where they could get these really popular musicians to sell games. What do you think about that? And I know that you didn't really play. I mean, I know you didn't play the full game, so to tell you, what do you think about the soundtrack? It would be too much. But what do you think about Sega trying to sell games with popular artists?
I like it. I think it's smart. I do, miss the days where it's like Crush 40 was making the main theme, but given they kind of aren't together anymore, or maybe they just, I don't know if they've officially broken up or what, but you can only rely on that for so long. You can only rely on in-house musicians for so long. Sonic's been doing it a lot longer. The most earliest I can think of is, I think Sonic 06, where they started bringing in other artists, and they had, remember that it was like remix?
Oh, yeah.
Where it was, but yeah, I think it works as long as the song's good. Like you just mentioned, Stranger Than Heaven, like that, I feel kind of hits in the same way that Kingdom Hearts with what was that? Simple and Clean? Was that what it was?
I forgot. I totally forgot. I actually not a big Kingdom Hearts fan, oddly enough.
Give me 2 minutes. But that's like one where the main theme just like really got popular and like really came to define the sound of the game. In this one though, from what I remember with the soundtrack, it works. It is different. I feel like when I think of Yakuza game soundtracks, it's always like doo doo, doo 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 doo. It's all very like moody and drums and like this not so much. It's a little bit different, and I like that. But it's not one I've thrown on the soundtrack to. But maybe I should revisit it. I don't know.
I thought since they were gonna have Takua Kimura. I thought that they were going to be leaning more on him doing the intro music at least and that kind of stuff. It felt like whoever their ad agency or their management was like, no singing. Absolutely no singing. That's off the table. I have known that like in the history of rock music, some musicians aren't allowed to sing in other people's music because their voice is so unique that if they make another band, they're not allowed to sing. I think I read an article about how Robert Smith couldn't do that when he went to another band, so he just stayed with his band. So it's interesting. I wonder if it's something like that. But let's talk about the marketing campaign. Sega really had a tightrope to walk. How do you sell a game that looks like Yakuza, plays like Yakuza, but it isn't Yakuza? So this is what Sega did, especially in Japan. They did the Kimura factor. Kimura's face was front and center of all Japanese marketing. This was the Kimura game first and the RGG Studio game second. The legal suspense hook. Trailers emphasize courtroom drama, investigation, and serial killer plot. They deliberately downplayed the Yakuza connection, framing it as a psychological thriller, which is kind of funny because it's like 80% Yakuza and 20% the investigation and courtroom drama. In the West, though, it was from the creators of Yakuza, and the Yakuza connection was actually the selling point rather than something to hide. Sega needed to leverage the Yakuza fan base while promising something new. Also, the multiple language support. Sega made a big deal out of the 5 subtitle support and the English dub, which I think it is a big deal. It's a lot of work to do a full game like this in 5 different languages. So, what do you think? Do you think Sega? I mean, I think Sega West did a good job, obviously leaning into Yakuza since it was becoming a hot brand. But do you think Japan kind of made a mistake not calling it? I mean, just relying on Kimura's face like a pop star? It'd be like, I don't know.
I feel like this game maybe needed something on the cover that just said like from the world of Yakuza or from the world of Like a Dragon, because that tells you, oh, it's from within that. Just like how, you know, they'll have Marvel Studios on the header of things. I don't think RGG, the logo, I mean, it existed at the time. In fact, they gave you a sticker in the case.
Oh yeah.
But I don't look at that and immediately think, oh, it's going to take place in the Yakuza franchise. Just because I don't think the logo itself is all that iconic, at least at this point. And also, we've since come to accept that the logo could also mean Virtua Fighter. Yeah. So, you know, that's not from the world of Yakuza. So, they did that spin-off, that manga, that anime.
What was it called?
What was it?
You mean the Black Panther game? Or
no, they did Lost Paradise. What was it called? It was oh man, I'm blanking on it now. It was like black and white cover art.
Fist of the North Star.
Fist of the North Star.
Same time.
Yeah. So they've come to like do other franchises at this point. So yeah, I feel like they should have done something to show that, oh, this takes place within the world of Yakuza. And I think saying from the world of Yakuza would have done everything. That said, I think they did a good job marketing this. I think leaning into the English voice cast, even though it's not my preferred thing to select, I like that they had Greg Chun like at conventions dressed as the character. Cool. I thought that was really fun. You know, that actually kind of evoked Shenmue when they would have the voice actors dressing up like the characters. I thought
when you saw the marketing for Judgment, did you expect it to be more of a detective game than a Yakuza game, or were you unsure about that?
I mean, I was kind of hesitant to play it just because I was like, is it gonna be like Phoenix Wright in 3D? I don't know if I have that time and energy. Like, I kind of like how the Yakuza games work, where you just kind of go in, you beat things up, you do some mini games. I didn't know if I would have to be taking notes, you know, and like people would be like, that was the thing with Phoenix Wright. Like I was like, if I'm gonna play this, I'm gonna have to like play through it in a short amount of time. Otherwise, I'm gonna return to it later and be like, I don't even remember what the case is. But apparently that's not a problem. So maybe the game conditioned me to think differently than what it actually was.
And this game is more really Yakuza with some sprinkled in detective elements and stuff that some people found really annoying, to be honest with you. So it's a hit and miss. I like some of it. Some of it is annoying. So let's talk about the PS. This game came out on the PS4. It's hard to believe. I don't know why. It feels like forever that we've had the PS5. And I don't know. whatever. This generation's the strangest gaming generation ever. But Judgment launched on PS4 in December 2018 in Japan and June 2019 worldwide. But its platform journey has been unusually complicated. In 2021, they did a remastered version of the game, like literally less than what 3 years. So that's crazy. I guess this is something new that they
Yeah.
do with big games. A remastered version came out on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Stadia in April 2021. And it wasn't just a resolution bump; it included 60 FPS performance, making the game way better. Improved visuals and loading times, which is great, and has all the previous release DLC. Which version have you played the most? The original with the original lighting and stuff, or the new remastered version?
Now remind me, the remastered one, is that only on PS5?
Yeah, so if you bought it on PS5, like the PS4 is the original one, and anything else is remastered.
That's what I have,
So
yeah.
most people, I think, have played the remastered.
Yeah, that really threw me off though, because it happened so quickly. I was like, how different is this? But it clearly is not that different. That's interesting though.
Yeah, and I think I was watching a video for, I think Sony did one for what's that game called? The Last of Us. They keep redoing remasters of it. You could if you Google it, you can see the original and remastered. I'm gonna probably put something up on the screen. The lighting is different. They just made everything more dark instead of having this like warm tone that the original had. They
Right.
kind of made it more like, I guess, natural lighting, some people would say. I don't know if you prefer. I think a lot of fans got mad. They liked the lighting, and some people did. You know how it is when you change anything. I think the biggest one I remember was when Sony changed the Amazing Spider-Man. They changed the actor, the way they looked, and people got really upset.
Right.
PC Saga. Here's where it gets interesting. When Lost Judgment was announced in 2021, rumors emerged that the Judgment series might end because of a dispute over PC ports. Reports claim that
Right.
Kimura's talent agency, Johnny and Associates, had strict restrictions on image rights that prevented the game from appearing on PC, where modders could potentially alter and misuse Kimura's likeness. This created a tense standoff between Sega RGG Studios and Johnny and Associates. For over a year, it seemed like Judgment series might never come to PC, despite the Yakuza's massive success on Steam. In September 2022, Sega pulled off a surprise. Both Judgment and Lost Judgment launched on Steam with no prior announcement. The dispute had apparently been resolved, and PC players finally got access to the series nearly 4 years after the PS4 original. What do you think about talent agent? Do you think Sega should be more hesitant in using people, or have better contracts when they use people, like Kimura, like Snoop Dogg, like Tupac?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's a reason why we still have all the same Sonic characters. You know, like they're not based on anyone, but it seems like once they start basing likenesses, people could have shady stuff come up in their past. And to be honest, like the Yakuza games and RGG Studio work with a lot of shady people because they're playing shady characters. Like either people who, you know, are kind of like notorious outside of their acting life, or they are like kind of crazy musicians, so they might have drug use. Like, I don't know. I mean, Snoop Dogg, he's had enough, you know, shit already happen to him that, you know, I think he's kind of immune. But yeah, it's a mistake. I wish they would just have original characters, you know.
Also, my problem, I forgot the girl's name, but she's popular now. My issue is that they picked Snoop Dogg, which is fine, but he's like the biggest sellout. I would have loved if they picked an actual like hip hop artist that generates hype with the new generation. Maybe like Kendrick Lamar. He's pretty big. He's really recluse. He doesn't really come out much. The idea of him like acting in a video game would have been way bigger news than Snoop Dogg, who literally, I bet you, if we could on our Patreon get enough money, we could get him as a guest on this on a podcast if you pay him enough. So like that's just what I'm like saying. But do you think Snoop Doggy Dogg has the power of someone like relevant today that he did in the past?
No.
Yeah, okay. Just wondering. It also came out on Luna, Amazon Luna. Does anyone use Amazon Luna? I don't know.
I do. No, I've used it once and I thought it was kind of
yeah,
stupid.
like I could play on my console. Maybe now with the RAM and the AI stuff and the whole like no disc, I guess if you have Amazon Prime, you might want to pop on and play some RPG games on there. But sales topped 1 million units worldwide by June 2021, which I feel like is really not that high. A milestone Sega and RGG celebrated as proof that the new IP had found its audience. I mean, 1 million is not the worst, but I thought with a pop star like him, they would be able to clear 2 million. And did you see this like number that people put out that Sega wants Stranger Than Heaven and Persona 4 Revival to sell over 5 million units?
I mean, shoot for the stars, I guess.
To be successful, though? I'm like, what the hell? Sega's turning into like Square Enix a little bit, don't you think? Like having these like crazy numbers, and the highest selling Yakuza game is like 2.8 million. So you're saying double the number, give it away for free on Game Pass, and still sell. Okay. It's crazy, but anyway. So lasting legacy, critical reception, Judgment holds a respectable Metacritic at the low 80s, generally positive, but with a consistent criticism. The detective mechanics don't land, but everything else does. Critics praise the plot, the storytelling, combat, the crane/tiger system, side content variety, English voice acting quality, the tighter, more focused narrative, and I do agree. It's pretty focused to what it's supposed to be. Unlike Yakuza, which like you'll start the story and then like fourth chapter you're wearing a dress and you're looking for a duck for no reason or something weird, and
right.
it just goes off the rails, then it comes back in the end finally. Critics didn't like the trailing missions, investigation, pixel hunts, how they had over the top combat, but yet a grounded story. It was kind of clashed.
That's Yakuza.
That's what I was going to say. The last one is just what Yakuza is. IGN said, although I wish there was more depth to its detective work, Judgment's smooth and spectacular street fighting, eclectic array of side missions, and suspenseful serial killer based plot makes for the best original Yakuza game of this console generation. Kotaku said it's basically Yakuza 7.
Ooh, little did they know.
Yeah. What do you think about these critics? I think they're on for some stuff. I don't know about the grounded story / over the top. I think it's just Yakuza.
Yeah, I think there's always going to be the people who are like, they just want a Yakuza game that's completely serious the whole time, and it's never been that. Sure, like the early games were a bit more serious, but yeah, let's check ourselves. Like Yakuza's always been a mix. But I think they're pretty much dead on. This is a very solid game. I'm not one to like always assign numbers to things. Like I don't walk out of a movie and go, well, that was an 8.2.
No.
But but I could see this game being like low 80s, and that's okay. You can, like we've said before, like some of the best games are like 7 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. And I will also say that like I think there's a lot of games that I really, really enjoyed, but then when we sit down and talk about them, it feels like I hate the game because I have like, if they improved this thing and this thing and this thing, it would be perfect. But it's because the gameplay was so good that the little nitpicks I have are because I loved playing the game so much that these little things could have improved it so much. I mean, first of all, to have such strong opinions on games, it means you played them. So I would
Right.
compare this to like Sonic Frontiers. When we talk about it, we complain about it, about the little things like, oh man, I got this, but it does so much right that we want another game. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And we got another game with
Yeah.
this, so
And I would say that Judgment's kind of like that, where, oh, the stupid trailing missions, whatever, this, and that, but the core game was good. So I'll do my closing thoughts then. Judgment is a fascinating experiment from a studio that, after a decade of telling one story, decided to prove it can tell another. It doesn't always succeed. The detective mechanics range from shallow to frustrating, and the Yakuza but not Yakuza identity can feel like a costume rather than a transformation. But when it works, it really works. The cast is excellent. The combat is the smoothest the Dragon Engine has ever produced. The story, a smaller, more personal tale of guilt and redemption, resonates in ways that Kiryu's grand gangster operas sometimes struggle to achieve. And getting to see Kamurocho through a fresh eyes with a protagonist who isn't a legendary Yakuza gives the familiar streets a surprisingly new texture. It may not have reinvented the wheel, but Judgment proves the wheel could roll in a different direction. And in the industry where studios often get trapped in their own franchises forever, that might be the most valuable legacy of all. And what do you think to Yakuza fans? You think this is something they should be playing? Because, I mean, when I see this is the order of Yakuza games to play, Judgment's games aren't in it. Sometimes, telling Yakuza fans to play more Yakuza-style games is a lot, considering they have 15 games at this point. Do you think this is something that should be added to their gameplay repertoire?
I think so. I mean, it's not like the story impacts anything, but then again, there's been some Yakuza games that have little to no impact on the story. Yeah. We've yet to see what Pirate Yakuza, which is a spin-off. I mean, I feel like this is more of a valid game than some of those in-between Gaiden games that they've been doing. And if anything, this might be kind of like the first of those, where for a time we were getting the main series games, we were getting Kiwami, and then they were like, oh, let's give them a interquill side series. I think even on the Japanese boxes, they would say like Yakuza 7 Gaiden or Yakuza 8 Gaiden, which I really like. And so, George, I'll ask you, like, if this were a Gaiden game, where would this sit?
I would say, personally, one of the things I like about Yakuza is the gameplay. And the fighting gameplay on this is really, really good. Even though I just played Tiger style, I had a lot of fun with the fights. Yeah. The mortal thing was annoying a little bit, but I don't know. I really, really enjoyed the fighting, and I think to me that puts it up above a lot of the other ones. A lot of the guiding games, I just never really captured me. I think I played that Samurai one Inshin, and I'm mixed on it. But I did like Pirate Yakuza because for the same reason I liked this game, where the combat is so over the top and crazy that it's actually really fun to play. Like the fighting in Pirate Yakuza is really fun. The story is nonsensical.
It is.
It's like, I agree with a lot of people. You could do a lot with Majima, and you didn't do that. You basically gave him like a literally Disney storyline.
It is like Moana in some parts, but
yeah. Any closing thoughts of Judgment?
I think it's a game that has left a legacy. It definitely has a very devoted fan base. It's unfortunate that Sega will likely never return to it. It's kind of a two and done side story adventure. I do think it would be really exciting if once Stranger Than Heaven comes out and they kind of return to Yakuza, because we're close to Yakuza 10, right? We've had 7,
9.
We've had Infinite Wealth, so they're at 9. I think it would be pretty cool if when we make it to 10, they bring Yagami back, I think that would be kind of exciting to have him and Kazuma and Ichiban all be in a game. I think that would be really cool, like RGG Avengers.
Oh shoot!
You know?
What is it like? What is it? What's the movie? In Game? It's like that, right?
Yeah. I just think it would be really cool if they brought in like all of these major characters, including him, and like, I don't know, give us like a really wild game. Maybe even close things out, like, and then move on to another chapter. But yeah, it's well worth playing. I think the mini games alone make it very well worth playing. I think this is one of the best, and it has the Game Gear games, if I'm not mistaken, or is that the sequel? I think it might be the sequel. The sequel, yes, the sequel has the Game Gear. I love that stuff.
No,
so,
I think you do have a Master System in your room, and you could buy Master System games.
That's it. Yes, Master System games. So, yeah, I love when they do that, and this is a really great game. It's well worth checking out.
And something
that I'm glad that our
something I didn't mention. You could also like put stuff in your room, like decorate your office.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a little half baked. I didn't even bring it up, but that was an option. Right. I wish they would do that more. I know they did it a lot in Yakuza 8, where you have your own island. That was pretty crazy. It's like Animal Crossing Island.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I remember that.
So that's it for today. For this episode of Sega Talk, we're gonna play Daniel Andres' Memories in the end. Thank you guys. Are you gonna tease what you're gonna do next week?
Let's just say I'm a bit of a chameleon when it comes to... we're going to talk about Kid Chameleon on the next one. It's Nicholas Schaefer picks. So looking forward to that. We'll see you on episode 190. But now let's hear what Daniel has to say about Judgment. No
Bye.
E. No two E's. Bye.
Oh my goodness. I feel so bad that I didn't make this sooner. Sorry if my voice or my mouth sounds kind of Sorry if my voice or my mouth sounds kind of funny. I just got back from the dentist. I had to get a crown put in. So my mouth is still kind of numb, but I'll be alright. Yeah, so that's going to be fun to listen to for this episode. It's going to be a permanent reminder for me. I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to go back and listen to this in the future for you guys this episode. But so funny enough, I'm actually playing this game right now. I think I'm on chapter 8, so I've not finished it yet, but I am playing it, and I will listen to the episode when it comes out, even if there are spoilers, because I already kind of know the story. So, my memories for Judgment. I think the earliest memory I have for this game is when it was announced, when RGG announced it. It was like the first major big spin-off Yakuza game. They have made others before this one that I don't know if I was aware of them or not. I am aware of the Like a Dragon Black Panther games on the PlayStation Portable or PSP. I am playing those games. They are really effing cool. And I really wish they would get localized officially and released. Like maybe Sega or RGG should do a Yakuza 1 and 2, you know, the PS2 versions with Like a Dragon Black Panther collection one day for PS4/PS5 physical release. That'd be really sweet, but I don't think we're ever gonna get that. But anyways, no, yeah, Judgment is a really, really cool game. But like I said, first big spin-off series. This one in Yakuza 6, I would say, are like the two games that kind of feel the closest similar to Shenmue so far in terms of the Yakuza series, but also not really at all, because, you know, they are their own games still at the end of the day. This is the second game I think designed or developed in the Dragon Engine, since Yakuza 6, and not to make this the Yakuza 6 memories, but, you know, I do love that game, but we'll get to that when you guys get to Circle of Life. But no, Judgment's great. I do love Yagami. I think he's a great protagonist. I think he's really cool, and he's kind of like, he is kind of like the opposite of Kiryu, because he does not forgive, like, you know, those who have done crime. Kind of like, he's very like, you know, he is kind of like very copish, very like, He is a detective slash a lawyer first. I think he would probably arrest Kira if he had the chance if he ever met him. He kind of reminds me of Samoya from Yakuza 2 in that kind of way. But no, he is a good guy though. He does have like very similar virtues though, I would say, and values. He seems like a cool guy. But again, he's not at all like the same protagonist. He's his own character. And I do really like him. I do like the story. I also like his buddy, the side character who was in Yakuza 2. So never mind. Maybe he would forgive Kira actually. Now that I think about it, or give him a pass. But what was his name? Hold on a second. Kaito. I apologize about that. Kaito's his name. I really like talking Kaito, and I really like their best friend chemistry they got going on. They're both really cool. Kind of reminds me of another best buddy that I had once, but yeah, no, this game is really cool. I do like Judgment. I like the story. I like that it's like kind of about like how Big Pharma is bad, like kind of like about like the health industry. It's really unique. You know what I mean? Like, and I know Barry, you have touched on this before on previous Yakuza-related episodes for SEGA Talk, that you really do not have to play these games in order, that you can kind of start wherever. And right now, I currently have this coworker who's kind of interested in playing them, and she likes the Phoenix Wright games, and so I recommend to her, start with Judgment for the series, because it's kind of a similar idea in nature, but with a completely different gameplay design. So I do like Judgment. I don't think it's a bad first game to play to get a taste of like RGG Studio, to see like what they've made. It's cool. Just I had not been in the game yet. I'm only at the time of this recording or this episode. I'm only on chapter 8, I believe. So I'm near the end of the game, but I'm not that. I think it's like 11 or 12 chapters long or something. So I'm past the halfway point at least. But yeah, and I do know the overall story. But I don't know everything, but I kind of get a sense of like where things are. I kind of already know like what happens, but you know what I mean? Because I did see a video talking about all the Yakuza games a few months to like a year ago back, so I kind of remember the main story a little bit. But yeah, Judgment is cool. I know I keep saying that, man. But it's true. This is like Sega's bread and butter series right now, and I do love these games, but I'm kind of getting like a little sick of them. Like I want a new Prince Dragoon. I want a new Well, I am happy with Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio. I'm glad we're getting those, but no, like I do love RGG games. It's just freaking. I am so excited for Stranger Than Heaven. Stranger Than Heaven looks incredible. Oh my god, that game looks amazing. That game looks like it could become Sega's best game ever next to Shenmue. Like Stranger Than Heaven has that kind of potential. It does. And Virtua Fighter 6 looks incredible too. So I'm excited. I really want them to make Shenmue 4. I'm just gonna say right now, you guys don't have to put this in the episode. It's just personal thoughts, but I think RGG should recommend, or at least consider, working with Yu Suzuki and NISNET and making Shenmue 4 and so on. Like he would have a good home. He would have good like security, and like his series, I think should happen. If they're gonna make fucking Virtua Fighter, like come on, like if RGG's gonna make Virtua Fighter RPG, basically you cannot tell me that they cannot make Shenmue 4 and 5 at this point. Like come on, but it's fine. I'm a little salty about that. Like I do want Crossroads. I do want that game. I do want Virtua Fighter 6. I do want it for what it is. Like don't get me wrong, I'm excited for this game, but I'm kind of like pissed. Because I'm like, why do we have this but not Shenmue 4? Like, what the fuck? Like, what? Like, that's so frustrating. But I am happy that they're making it. I am. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, emotions are complicated, so I'm a little mixed about that, but I'm also kind of like, I'm happy, I'm kind of like, but also like, but I am happy though. Does that make sense? I hope so. Sorry, George and Barry, again, that's just a side note. You don't have to put that in the episode. I hope you don't. If you do, it's fine. But no, this is about Judgment. Judgment's really cool. And I'm trying to remember the first time I got the game. I think it was back when it came out. I did pre-order it. I believe so. I've had the same company for years, and I haven't gotten around to playing it until within the past year or two, like fairly recently. So, because I've been playing all these games in order, and I had to play Zero, Kwame 1, Kwame 2 again a few years back. So yeah, I beat 6 just last summer. So okay, so I started Judgment fairly recently. Yeah, I did. Yeah. So. It's awesome. I'm enjoying it. It's a good game. Not the best game in the series or anything like that, but it's a good one. I have not played Lost Judgment yet, but Judgment 1 is cool. It's really good. So if you haven't played it, check it out. It's not a bad for a SEGA game to play in general, and it's not a bad for RPG game to experience as well. I recommend it.